My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of FightBackMedia.com. Today we talk about Governor DeSantis, not once, not twice. He's not talking to NBC or MSNBC until Andrea Mitchell gets it straight, live, and in public. And you wonder how a state like Florida they can move from a swing state to a GOP stronghold. We'll talk about that too, and the Democrat Party of Florida, which kind of sucks. It really sucks, and you'll go, how, why? I know. So we're also going to talk about NPR. NPR, National Public Radio, is laying off 10% of their workforce. Donations are down. We can only speculate why. We'll be back right after this. So is it okay now? Because it was, during the Trump administration, it is okay to talk about the president's.
Yeah, we talked about mental health elderly, so let's talk about this guy's mental health.
The president's mental acuity, because there's sometimes where it seems to be lacking. Have you seen?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's especially bad. I'm talking about sometimes it's like really bad. Like, have you seen the picture?
I was told not to take any questions.
I was told not to take any questions. They're going to be mad at me.
They're going to be mad at me.
Mr.
President, are you the president or were you five?
You see, what I want. See, the next question is, excuse me,
I was told to call on what you call it for NBC. Who's telling you to call on?
That's the question that we ought to be asking. Who's telling you this?
I don't understand why nobody won't ask that question.
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Who's telling you to call on these people in the media?
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Probably so.
The Sunshine State is what we call it here, has been branded proudly as the free state of Florida by Republican Governor Ron DeSantis. It has gone from being a swing state to a solid GOP stronghold. That was really painfully clear to everybody in the 2022 election that saw Governor DeSantis beat former governor and Republican and independent Charlie Crist like he stole something by almost 20 points. That is a butt whipping in politics today. Senator Marco Rubio defeated challenger Val Demings by more than 16 points. That's a butt whipping too. It was really funny to watch all the tweets and all the Facebook ads about how Val Demings was going to replace Marco Rubio. And I'll tell you what, living here, there were some people who really believe that. They really did. I didn't say a word. I just sat right here by my palm tree and just enjoyed the breeze and enjoyed the water. That's what I did. Because I knew that both of these whoopings were coming. You could smell in the air like rain. Like we know, Florida Indians know when it's going to rain. And not by the radar, not even by the sky, but by the smell. And we could smell that ass whooping coming for sure. As President Joe Biden's party seems to be increasingly abandoning Florida, and this is what parties do. I wish I could say it was just Democrats. The parties do this too. If the race seems too hard, the road seems too rugged, they will just leave it. The Republican Party of Florida has done that in many districts here in the state of Florida, but Democrats are starting to abandon Florida as it's too hard to win there. And that's really a good place for me to be. That is too hard to win there. So that's just how bad their losses have been. And how significant has GOP gains become? A good place to look is at the hard data that tells a better picture than lawn signs and boat parades. And boat parades is we can do some boat parades. I'm telling you, it's the voter registration rolls. The latest update to the records was made just this Monday, and it includes registration data through the end of January. Between 2018 and January 31st, 2023, Florida saw an increase of 1 million, more than 1 million registered voters on its roll, reflecting some of the population growth, because, again, people are just moving here. It's stupid. More than 1,000 people a day are moving here. You hate us because you want to be us. My friend Grady Judd has told these people, if you're moving here, leave your blue state politics where they are. You're moving here for a reason. The things that you think are good about here are because of the way that we do things here in the Sunshine State. But the changes to party registration shows a bigger political shifts taking place. In 2018, the year that Governor DeSantis won his first statewide election against Democrat Andrew Gillum, dodged a bullet there. There were 4,975,895 registered Democrats, and only 4,718,720 registered Republicans. The Democrats had an advantage of over 250,000 registered voters. That's sizable. When you're trying to win state elections, to have 250,000 people in your pocket is sizable. And in 2019, the Democrats' advantage in 2019 was reduced a little bit to 225,115 voters. 2020 saw Democrats continue to hold, but an albeit shrinking lead of only 97,215 in voter registrations. But in 2021, the lead switched. Now, all sorts of things happened in 2021. Floridians saw how the governor handled the pandemic, while the rest of the country, while CNN and all these people were talking about Death Santis and all this stuff, Floridians, people who live here, were seeing what was going on here. They were seeing what was happening around the country and indeed around the world, but they were looking outside and seeing what was happening here. And that's when the lead switched. Republicans in 2021 had an advantage of 43,102 registered voters. And in 2022, the Republicans continue to add to their roster and now have a significant lead of 383,994 registered voters. Now think about it. They were down in 2018, 257,000, and now Republicans are up over 300,000. Now at the start of now at the start of an off year, which is, it's not really, I hate that whole off year thing. At the start of a year that does not include a presidential or a House of Representatives race, the Republicans have a lead of 417,309 registered voters. It's 500,000. It's going to be twice what the Democrats had in 2018. We're almost at a 500,000 voter swing. It went from 250,000 to 257,000 on the left of the Democrats. Now it's moved on the other side to 417,000, and this is in a year where most of the elections that are happening in the state are municipal elections, and they are also, for the most part, nonpartisan. So whatever the Democrats try to accomplish heading into 2014, the strategy has already been faltering at best, as seen in their attempt to throw out decades of presidential primary tradition that's thrown state parties into crisis as they attempt to work around existing laws. They're trying their best to work around what's happened. In Florida, they are screwed. Their leadership sucks. absolutely sucks. Even when they had those advantages, let me tell you why I think their leadership sucks. Even when they had those advantages, Republicans had the governor's office. Republicans had majorities in the Senate and the House still. So statewide, they weren't ever doing that well because their message falls deaf, even on traditional Democrats. It's too progressive. It's too communist. It smells too much like communism. Remember, I could tell that I told you that Floridians can smell rain. They can smell BS too. And I know it looks like this. You go, yeah, yeah, it's going to rain. We got to go. Now, the visitor to Florida goes, what? It's beautiful. We should just hang out here for a while. The Floridian goes, now we got to go. We should pack up. And then in 15 minutes, it's pouring down raining. And the tourist is going, how do you know? You go, you didn't smell that? Longtime Democrats in Florida do the same thing concerning communism. When so many people came from Cuba and so many people here came from communist states that they can smell it. So when Val Demings starts her crap and Charlie Crist, people go, nah, we're out of here. Nah, we're not voting for you. We can smell it. We can smell the communism on your breath. And these are the people that the Democrat Party of Florida continues to put in charge. They continue to put in charge. The rest of the country could do a lot to help themselves by following the example of Florida. Now I know it can be kind of wild, and I know that we're known for Florida man and all that kind of crap. But you know what? As much of a problem as I've had with the RPOF, and I've told you, I'm not shy about it. I've told you, some of the new leadership at the state level and local levels, frankly, are doing a hell of a job, a Herculean job. Congratulations to you. Speaking of our governor, you know that everybody, you know that mainstream media has been out to get Governor DeSantis um, for a long time, especially on how we handle COVID. So they've been out to get him because we handle it so well. And I've told you this before. Please remember, I told you this before. The left is great because they will always tell you and show you who they're afraid of every time. They will lose their snit going after who they're afraid of, even if that person is doing well, because that's not what they care about. They care about power. They care about winning elections. So they will go hard after the person that they're most afraid of. And right now, the left in America is terrified, petrified of Ron DeSantis. Petrified. And you're wondering why. Well, I'll tell you why. My perspective is this. Ron DeSantis is every bit of Trump without any of the cringiness that Trump can bring. Every bit Trump. With every bit of America First without the cringiness that Trump can bring. And if you look at Ron DeSantis and his wife Casey and his beautiful children, it looks like they all came from freaking central casting. Ron Frost, the Florida kid, military JAG, Navy JAG, I think, yeah, lawyer JAG. Looks good. Look good in his uniform. Could probably put that bad boy now. Put the hat on. Look good. Yeah, he doesn't have the baggage. And again the cringiness that Trump can bring, and that scares the crap out of the left because the left is always tied up in what things look like as opposed to what things are. And DeSantis has both. They look great, and they have all the energy and all the America first that people are looking for. They're looking for someone to push back on the media. They're looking for someone to push back on agendas that they don't like. They're looking for somebody who can take it, who doesn't bend. That's what they're looking for too. They are. And Ron DeSantis seems to be providing that. Although he's not said he's going to run for president, he's not said that at all. And quite frankly, I hope he doesn't. I hope he finishes his term. As governor, I like people who finish what they start. One of our mayors here in Tampa that was a Democrat, but I kind of liked her. Her name was Pamela Iorio. A lot of people wanted her to run for governor, but her term ran to a point where she would have had to pretty much stop running in the city of Tampa and run for governor. And she said that she was going to finish her term out because that's what the people of Tampa wanted her to do. And I hope that Ron DeSantis is the same. That he finishes his term out because the people of Florida, by almost 20 points, said, Ron DeSantis, we want you. We need you to be our governor. That's what I hope happens. I don't know if it will or not. If I was a betting man, I have to check this out a little deeper to find out that's going to happen, right? So NBC and your girl Andrea Mitchell, y'all know Andrea Mitchell, has been putting out some false statements. Yesterday, we detail how Andrea Mitchell delivered some blatantly prefabricated accusatory inaccuracies regarding Governor Ron DeSantis. Mitchell claimed that DeSantis wants the teaching of slavery removed from schools. All right, let's talk about this thing because the left's trying to get all this mileage out of Governor DeSantis reject or Department of Education in Florida rejecting this individual curriculum. Let me tell you how curriculum works. A lot of y'all don't know how curriculum works. It works like this anymore. A company, usually a book company, the people who make the textbooks that you have, now do more than just make the textbooks. But even when they did, the textbooks were looked at by somebody at the state or local level and said, we want to use this textbook. There was a lot more than just one algebra book out there, a lot more than just one American history book. But y'all probably didn't think about it that way, right? You got your book, had a flag on it, was your American history book. Some kid in California it may have had a flag on it, but it's a completely different history book. Some kid in Michigan had a completely different history book. It depends on the one that they bought. Now, in that history book isn't just a list of facts. You read, there's text, stories, quizzes, different foci, things that they focused on. Normally at the end of the chapter is what? Questions at the end of the chapter. Now, what a lot of y'all don't know or don't think, there was usually a bunch of ancillary materials, curriculum, guiding the teacher through the book. And now these companies are designing curriculum that come with a book. They're designing pre-made curriculum. And the College Board has designed an AP, an advanced placement curricula for American history, for African American history. Florida already has African American history classes. We already have Black history classes in Florida, and I've had them for years. And every Black history course in Florida refers to slavery. It represents slavery. It has to. So this idea that Florida and Governor DeSantis is not wanting to teach Black history because it includes slavery is complete and total and utter BS. It is a bold-faced lie. Because first of all, because it's already happening. and has been happening. We've had a Black history curriculum in Florida for golly almost as long as I can remember. And remember, I started going to school here when I was in third grade in 1968. Do the arithmetic. Graduated from a Florida high school, went to two Florida universities, one college, one university. I've had all my education right here in the state of Florida. Now I know that some of you are going, "Yep, that's why you're a dumbass." I know as a softball, as an underhanded softball, I gave it to you. You're welcome. But I do, and I actually worked in the system here in this county, so I know that there is a Black history curriculum already in the state of Florida that kids are already taking. The one we're talking about is a new curriculum put together by the College Board that adds other elements to Black history that need not be there. The whole LGBTQ portion of it. There's a 1619 component, and 1619 has been summarily and continuously dismissed as false. That's in this curriculum that the governor's people said, no, sorry, College Board. This curriculum we are not buying. And remember, you have to buy these curriculums. You don't just get to use them. You have to actually purchase them and give these companies money. Pearson, the people who make textbooks, you have to actually give them money. And Florida said, no, we're not paying you. We're not buying this curriculum. No. Other books, ancillary materials. There have always been materials, books, magazines, and the like that have been inappropriate in schools. Always. Two things come to mind. The first book is a book called Dreams of a Young Girl. The author and the photographer is a dude named David Hamilton. David Hamilton. It's a photography book. It's a picture. It's a small picture book with photography of young women. Some of them minors, in all forms of undress, using all sorts of different photographic techniques. That Hamilton, and it's an art book, purportedly, would not be appropriate in a middle school or actually any school, whether it be a high school, a middle school, or an elementary school. So not having that book in your classroom, or being told that book's not appropriate for your classroom, is not banning books, because that book is still available in the public library. And your eighth grader could go to the public library and check that book out, and nobody would stop them. It's just not appropriate in that, at Dover Middle School or Central High School or Ben Franklin Elementary School. Hustler magazine is not appropriate anywhere, but definitely not in a public school or private school, really. Some would say that it's art. Some would say that is biology. Some would say that it's science, that is gynecology. Others would say it's pornography, smut. But is it appropriate in high school? Not at all. So this idea that that everything that you can think of should be in a school is ridiculous. It's bull. It's outrageously stupid. You know it is, and I know it is. Right? You know it is, and I know it is. Just stupid stuff. But we're not doing that anymore. Andrea Mitchell is lying about Governor DeSantis not wanting to teach slavery. So what they've decided to do, this is Trump-like. They've decided they're not going to speak to anybody from NBC or MSNBC until Andrea Mitchell offers a correction. In these days, there's a whole bunch of ways to get your message out. You don't need NBC. You don't need MSNBC, especially if you're on the right. That's why they're afraid of him. All right, we'll take a little break. We'll be back with more of the Morning Report right after these messages. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com, and you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. All right. Hey, listen. I know a lot of you don't like listen or watch NPR, but they are looking to cut their workforce by roughly 10% of their current workforce. That's at least 100 people. I mean, our NPR isn't very big, but 10% is sizable, right? CEO John Lansing cited the erosion of advertising dollars, particularly for NPR podcasts. People advertising for podcasts. Imagine how hard that is to get people to advertise on a podcast. Anyway, and tough financial outlook for the media industry more generally. That's what he said. Well, when we say we are eliminating filled positions, we are talking about our colleagues, people whose skills and spirit and talents helped make NPR what it is today. Lansing wrote in a memo to staff today, it will be a major loss. On an annual budget of roughly $300 million, Lansing says revenues are likely to fall short by close to $30 million, which is 10%, although the gap could reach $32 million. Lansing also said that he was still 100% committed to podcasts, but said the advertising market still isn't showing signs of recovery. Hence the need to cut employees to ensure budgets are met. Welcome to capitalism, NPR. Welcome to how works. Adding in some woke blather, Lansing explained that he does not yet know within NPR will be affected, but the job cuts would not fall evenly across the organization. That means that the people who are in charge will keep their jobs. That's what that means. He vowed to make sure cuts do not fall disproportionately on employees of color. Oh, I'll tell you, white dudes, white woke dudes, you better find something to do. These cuts are coming to your house. They're coming to your house. So white employees who might otherwise have kept their jobs might find themselves in a chopping block in order to keep the layoffs equitable. You bet your sweet ass. Because when you work for companies like that, that's the kind of that happens. That's the kind of that happens. That is incredible. Lansing said, I don't anticipate it will be a haircut across every division because that's just not management. Apparently, the final decisions on which jobs be eliminated are expected before the end of next month. NPR's latest round of cuts follows a November 2022 announcement that NPR will undertake a $20 million reduction in expenses that caused a near freeze on hiring, elimination of most travel, and suspension of internships. Internships should be free. Internships should be free labor. You're interning for the experience. Now, it's hard to intern if you can't support yourself. So you get a job while you're interning. Right? You get a job while you're interning. That's how we did it. Okay, one more story. This chick, and we're going to play the video from Fox News, who's the chief inclusion officer at a progressive group, claimed to be Latin, South Asian, and Arab. Her mom just said, no, she ain't. No, she ain't. The mom said, this is great, and you'll hear this from the clip. I am as white as the driven snow.
Okay. The chief inclusion officer at a progressive group who claimed to be Latin, South Asian, and Arab descent was just outed by her own mom. The woman refers to herself as Raquel Avita Saraswati. Her mother says her real name is Raquel Elizabeth Seidel. She converted to Islam in high school and has also come out as gay. For years, she has presented herself as a person of color. Her ethnicity was first questioned in 2015. Then last week, her mom told a reporter this quote, I am as white as the driven snow, and so is she. I'm German and British, and her father was Calabrese Italian. She's chosen to live a lie, and I find that very, very sad.
White bright. But she was able, through bronzer, and she apparently took up Islam, converted to Islam in high school, and now is in that mental state where she thinks that she is Latin and South Asian, and Arab all at the same time. Not sure how that works. She's also come out as homosexual. Her mom says no. Her mother, the woman who gave birth to her, says no. And it's pretty sad that she's living this lie. So many people are living lies. So many. That's why we have to have people like us. Myself, Billy Lawson of the Morning Report, and Paul Swanson of the Swanson Report. .locals.com to tell the truth. In any case, you got to get out of here, make room for somebody else. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.